Hello everyone, my name is MrHurriicane, and this Madden 16 video is all about scouting in connected franchise mode, and specifically using the combine numbers to help you pick prospects to draft. I will also talk a little bit about the scouting this year, which has been redone, and I do like the new system. You still get points every week to look at ratings for these prospects, but the way you unlock them is different this year. You first spend points to unlock their highest rating, followed by their second and third. So you know when you unlock that very first rating, nothing else is going to be higher. So for this quarterback, for example, A- throw power, and then he has 2 B+ accuracy ratings. Based on these 3 ratings alone, you can tell this guy is probably going to be a pretty good passer. Good throw power and accuracy. Here's a running back I scouted. And you'll notice it costs 15 points to unlock that third rating. It's 5 for the first one, 10 for the second. So you can spend a lot of points just finding the best traits for each player. You can find their best rating and then go from there. But sometimes you don't have the ability to draft players you scouted. You may end up having to use combine numbers alone to draft players. And I'll show you a few different ways to use the combine numbers to your advantage. Here is a wide receiver, for instance, who had a very good 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. Those two drills coincide with agility and acceleration, which is what you would want from a guy who's 5'9", 189. So use all this information here to your advantage, and then you also have the 40-yard dash time, which wasn't one of the best, but it was still a 4.38. So you know this guy is going to have good speed. He should have off-the-charts agility and acceleration. You have no clue about route running, not very strong, only 6 reps on the bench press, which for a guy of that size you wouldn't expect very much strength, therefore probably not much release either. But what you can infer from this are a few physical things about this player. Speed, agility, acceleration. You're not sure about how the whole skill set as a receiver comes together, and so there is a bit of a dice roll, but you can use those combine numbers to take players who have good physical traits. The downside is that you're not going to know things like route running, catching traffic, but ratings such as those are easier to upgrade than physical traits like speed or strength. So using combine numbers, you can find players who fit physical molds of certain players. So for instance, Lindsey Gardner here would be more of a slot receiver, kick returner type, and you could develop his skill set. Now here we have a defensive tackle who had a very good 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. So this player here at 6'2", 301, you know he's going to be athletic. Very good short area quickness, which makes him an ideal fit for a 4-3 pass rusher. You combine that with the 35 bench press reps, you know he's going to be strong. Every drill here, this player finished in the top 10, so I knew that he was probably going to be at least a great physical specimen, and he was projected to go early. Based on these ratings, I figured I would have at least a good 4-3 pass rushing defensive tackle, and I would hope that he was also a good run stopper. Here's what he turned out to be. With that strength, I also assumed he'd have good block shedding and power moves, which he does. And then you see the agility, 92 acceleration, and 76 speed. Great short area quickness like I expected, but he ended up only having 66 tackle, which is really bad. Now we'll move on to a running back, who doesn't have a dominant trait here, it looks like, based on the combine numbers. Good overall grade though, so I expected a guy who was kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. And that's exactly what I got. 89 speed, 75 strength, which is pretty good, 89 acceleration, 91 agility. This is a pretty solid player. And keep in mind, when you look at these combine numbers, make sure you're also looking at the type of player the player is, as well as their measurables. Because if you see a player who's very short or very light, you can infer some of their weaknesses. Now we have a left tackle prospect who is 321 pounds, 6'7", and he's a big mauler. So right away, you want to see a high bench press rating, and you do at 37 reps, the 7th best for a left tackle. He also had pretty good vertical, broad jump 3-cone, and shuttle times, so I assumed he would be a pretty good prospect here later in the draft, and I did get a good value pick. As you see, the game does evaluate your picks every time you make a selection, and those are based on overall ratings. Now we're going to take a look at some secondary players. Here is one corner who's 6'1", 208 pounds. Good size. Combined with the 4'4", 640, you can see why he's considered a prototype corner. His bench press wasn't very good at all, so I assumed he'd have very low press, which is not ideal for a player of that size. You like to have him be able to jam receivers, but he did have good 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle, so perhaps you have a larger corner who can play inside in the slot and cover the shiftier receivers. And that's what this player ended up being, except for his intangibles were really bad and the coverage wasn't good either. 51 tackling, 71 man coverage, 39 awareness. I actually thought I'd get a pretty good corner with this selection, but this just goes to show you how risky it is to draft based on combine numbers alone. I was intrigued by a 6'1 corner who could play the slot with really good agility and acceleration, but the coverage ratings are just not good enough. Next up, I wanted to find a backup quarterback, and I found one who had a pretty good combine. 4'4", 340, he has a great 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle, so I know this quarterback can definitely run. And here's what his ratings ended up being. Sometimes you just get really lucky with these selections. 92 speed, 91 agility with 89 throw power, 85 throw on the run, 83 short accuracy, 80 medium, and 76 deep. Pretty good quarterback here I found late in the draft. I took him with the 156th selection, and as you can see in the lower left part of that screen, he was rated the number 10 overall player in this draft at 81 overall. And he was projected to go in the middle of the 6th round. That's a steal. Now we'll go back to the secondary. Here is a strong safety, and that 4'7", 440 that's not very good stands out. Based on that, I assume he's a box safety, but he doesn't have a great bench press, only 11 reps. That is 4th among strong safeties, but it's still not a very impressive mark. So here we have a player who isn't very fast, I don't think he's very strong, and that's what I got. A player with 81 speed, 57 strength, but these are the kind of guys you're going to find here in the 7th round. It was still considered a good pick, because he was the 177th best player in the draft. I didn't have much luck with those secondary picks. We'll go back to running back now, who had one of the best combine report scores available at 7.2, and he appears to have a similar skill set to the running back I took earlier. He has average speed, has some strength though to break some tackles. He was also a 4th round projected player, so I wanted to see what his rating actually was, and it turns out there's a reason he fell. 60 overall, his true talent was 244th. He does have a decent blend of speed, strength, and acceleration, but that carrying is really low, as is elusiveness. I had one more pick in this draft, and I wanted to go after another secondary player. Here we have another corner, this time 6'2", 212, 21 bench press reps, and a decent broad jump, which both relate to strength. He has a 4'4", 640. Could I get a good corner this time? No, still. You have to have better than 42 tackling, 40 awareness, only 76 on the coverage ratings. At the end of the day, I found a player who had, decent physical traits, and that was about it. It's no surprise that drafting without scouting players leaves you at a disadvantage. I was still a little happy with the outcome of this draft, at least from the first couple picks and the quarterback late. But what I really like about these combine numbers is that even if you don't know how good a player is, how good his individual skills are, those combine numbers, their height and their weight, they can tell you if a player fits the mold of a player you're looking for. For instance, if you want a big, tall prototype corner like you see a lot of times now in the NFL, if you want a guy who's 6'2" and fast, you're no longer gambling on whether a guy is going to have the speed you're looking for. Or maybe you're a power run team and you're looking at a 205-pound back and you're wondering if he has the strength to run between the tackles for you. You can see 2 ratings that relate to strength, and those are the bench press and the broad jump. The 6 drills all have ratings that they are related to. The 40 is speed, bench press is strength, vertical jump is jumping, the 3-cone is acceleration and agility, the 20-yard shuttle is agility and acceleration, broad jump, strength, and jumping. Sometimes you may have to make a pick based on combine numbers alone, but this year having the ability to scout that first rating for 5 points is extremely beneficial. You get that first rating, you know it's their best trait, and everything else is either as good or, in most cases, worse. So this draft was all players that I did not scout. I'll do another video showing off a draft where I scout every week, You have to scout every week this year, by the way, because if you don't, every week you lose 50% of your scouting points. So you could lose a lot of points if you wait until the end of the year like I usually do. So this year, scout every week, use your points, find out as much as you can, and spend your points efficiently. I'll talk more about the scouting system and using your points effectively, and I'll do an entire draft in another video. So be on the lookout for that. And that will do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe for more Madden 16 content, as well as my upcoming Connected Franchise Mode series, which I'll be announcing the team I'll be using in the next couple days. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.